Welcome back, everybody. This is Kevin with Everglades Canine Academy, and today we're going to be talking about canine food enrichment. Canine food enrichment is giving your dog extra stimuli during feeding time that helps them burn energy, reduce anxiety, and really gives them a fulfilling life if you're providing, on top of training that you're doing, if you're providing training for the dog. uh, Adding food enrichment is one of my favorite things to do. It requires very little effort and it has just such positive benefits for your dog. There's so many different ways you can provide enrichment. Today, we're going to be talking about a simple frozen treat that I give my dog. So I have a couple things that I do with them. Uh, and it's very inexpensive and very easy to set up. So what we're going to need is I have this product. This is called like a West Paw. Um, and it has a couple holes in it. I love this West Paw product. So big shout out to them. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but this is like a made in USA product. This thing has lasted me forever. And basically, what I do is I fill this up with soft food and then I freeze it overnight. And the next day, I give it to my dog, and he spends, sometimes up to an hour just like licking inside here trying to get the food. And after he's done licking it, he's pretty exhausted, and it's a great feeling, when I know that I've provided him with a really good outlet. So how do I set this up? This is one of the ways. Now there's a bunch of different ways to do it. A very common thing that people do is they use peanut butter and stuff like that. Just so it turns out that actually my dog isn't too crazy about peanut butter. And I also don't want to feed him just a bunch of peanut butter. So what I've done, I have I have used this kibble and I've added water in the kibble. Okay, so there's water. I've been soaking his kibble now for like an hour. Okay, and it's gonna get nice and soft. And what I'm gonna do, go away. Go ahead and dismiss my dog. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mush it all up. So if you guys are not practicing or using any kind of enrichment with your dog, I highly recommend that you do some enrichment practices with your dog. I have a couple different things that I do with enrichment, so I'll probably start posting more on enrichment itself, because I I want to think that most people are just feeding their dog out of a bowl. Sometimes I can get them feeding their dog by hand, which is great. But it's usually people just like put the kibble in the bowl and put it down, and like the most enrichment they're giving their dog is I make my dog stay, and then I put the bowl down, and then I say, "Okay, go get it." And yeah, that's good and all, but honestly, that's really not that much enrichment for your dog. I mean, most dogs need so much more activity than just like sitting for 5 seconds and then being released to their food. Different types of enrichment that I do is I might make my dog find food around the house. I might hide a little bit of his treats around the house in different rooms, and I'll make him stay in one corner of the house so he can't see me hide it. And then I'll go ahead and release him, and he'll run around the whole house looking for food. Or a big one that I do, we order a lot of things online because we live kind of far away from civilization. So one of the big things that I do is I use cardboard boxes, and I put Hudson's food in boxes, and I'll even put his toys in the boxes, and I will then have him on place, right? Like most people do, they make their dog wait. And then once I have the box set, I might even hide the box in another room. Then I release him, and he gets to tear up the box and find the food. And I really love that one because honestly, it reminds me of a wolf like making a kill and eating the food because he has to rip open the box and then he's eating all the kibble on the inside and the kibble will spill out all over the floor. And you can just see all of his senses working together to, to earn his meal. Your dog wants to work for their food. They have a much happier life when they're working for their food, I mean, it gets relatively boring. To me, I would assume it gets relatively boring eating the same meal in the same bowl in the same spot at the same time every day. And that's another thing that I like to talk about is that I really don't have a time schedule on when I feed my dog. I don't really feed my dog every day at 7 and then every evening at 7. I feed him randomly. I actually typically feed him after I eat, and I eat at different hours of the day. So I do like to feed my dog once I've been done eating. I make him wait or I make him go lay down in the corner. I'll eat my food. And then when I'm done, I put the dishes away and then I go and get his food. And the reason why I don't feed my dog at the same time every day is only because, well, there's a couple different reasons that I like to talk about. Is one, if someone's watching my dog, like if I have to board my dog, or I have like my neighbor watching my dog, they might not feed my dog right at the same time every day. And if he's used to getting that meal right at the same time every day for months and months and months, it's really going to stress your dog out if they don't get it right at 7 p.m. or right when your feeding time is because they're expecting it. And another thing, it's in the wild, you know, animals never know when their next meal is going to be. They have to hunt and forage and scrounge for their meal. So just by feeding your dog at different times during the day can be beneficial for their health. Okay. All right. So I have yummy. I have mashed up all of Hudson's kibble. It's soaked up really nicely, so it's kind of just like wet food now. And you don't have to buy expensive food to do this, folks. You don't have to have, you don't have to spend all the money. Most of the enrichment practices that I do, I try to actually do it. Sorry, I try to actually do it for as cheap as possible. Okay, because at the end of the day, I mean, I just don't like spending a lot of money, and the dog doesn't know the difference between, you know, uh, like a very expensive enrichment toy or just doing something easy like this. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start shoving all of this wet kibble into my West Paw. And I really love this product, you guys. A lot of people use Kongs, which I do like Kong as well and used to use Kong a lot, but I like this brand of West Paw because it's just got a different shape. It's like a bigger ball. I can actually fit his whole meal in here. Okay, and I just shove it in, and I'm gonna give him a little extra treat as well added to it. I don't know if you can see, I have these natural turkey tendons that I love to buy, and so a lot of people ask me like, what do you feed your dog? And I'll tell you, I'm more of a behavior expert. I don't really have too much knowledge on nutrition. I know like raw diets are really popular these days, but I feed my dog good old Costco kibble, Costco snacks. His stool is fine. That's the main thing that I look for. I'm looking for a hard stool. So, it's if you need nutritional advice, you might want to seek out a nutritional expert. But here we go. Okay, so I got a pretty good amount of food in this toy right here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little turkey tendons. I got like 3 of them. All right, and I'm just going to shove them in here. And it's going to make kind of like a little, boom. Look at that. There we go. It's going to make a little like meat popsicle for them. Okay. That's looking really good. So the Kong is full of food. See the food in there. And I have these turkey tendons. Ew, that's gross. Just dripped all over my carpet. And I have these turkey tendons shoved in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and freeze all of this. I typically freeze it overnight, but once it's fully frozen, it's fine. And I'll probably end up giving this to him tomorrow night. And so this this right here is packed full of food. And it is a pretty big ball. So he usually he usually ends up eating this for, like I said, like up to an hour until he tuckers out. And sometimes he doesn't even finish it. So I think it's a really good way to provide enrichment for your dog. Okay, you guys? All right, so go ahead when you're at home, try different enrichment practices. Feel free to look up different do it yourself or DIY enrichment ideas. I've been looking on YouTube. I know there's a bunch of great ideas out there. And if you are online promoting your do it yourself enrichment uh, techniques and sharing that with the world, good on you. Keep it up. I love to see new ideas because there's just so much more we can do for our dogs. And the more things that you try, the more the more dynamic you can have in your dog's feeding schedule, the happier your dog will be. Especially if your dog has anxiety or if you work a lot of hours and you really don't have the time to do a lot of hardcore training, lean into enrichment. Enrichment is a great way to get your dog motivated to eat. It's a great way to expel a bunch of energy for your dog. And I promise you, your dog will live a happier life. Okay, Hudson, come. There we go. With that said, come. I'm going to go ahead and end the video. Yes. Good boy. Go lay down. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Stay tuned. I'm probably going to keep this series of enrichment going as I feed my dog and as I practice this with other dogs. So if you have any questions, leave some comments down below. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. And thanks for tuning in. See you at the next video.